You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming. It's something on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Roads Yet Traveled, Merrick's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alrighty. The ringing starts, and then only does my vision come back. My mouth tastes like iron, but that's not what worries me. I can barely move, and I hear it getting closer and closer, and as soon as the light flickers on, it appears, gently standing in front of me, looking down. Sullen, eyeless sockets, fleshless fur, and empty desires. In the single moment, bleeding and cold on the floor. I've never hated football more. What do you want? I can barely bleed out a thin excuse for a question. I force myself up, propped up against the wall. I can make it to my knees, but no more. It does not respond. In fact, it does not move at all. Standing only a yard away, I feel it measuring me up. This is it. The moment before I die. But it never comes. Swallowing down a bitter taste, I try and inch myself away, only for its head to whip up at a blistering speed. If it were alive, I'd be worried for it, but I cast no fear over something so fetid and empty. Twitching, its head levels towards mine, in some cruel acknowledgement. A sickening squelch as something moves under its false skin. Oh, God. Move is too kind of a word. It writhes. Something is racking the beast with pain until... Oh my God. Jesus. Why the fucking eye? It is empty no longer, as horrid sounds and a terrible smell emanate from the limp corpse. Not meat, no, it's too old, unwanted. Carrion. The thing in front of me is a carrion of the mind. A thought discarded and forgotten, left to rot. Oh, God. Made manifest only in the space between my eyes and the rest of the universe. You're not real! It's a pathetic excuse. Something a child would scream at the monsters under the bed. It is real, and it knows it. My head is heavy. No, not this! I remember now. This has happened before. It's raining. No! Shut up! I don't want to hear... Through the veil, I watch stars fall. Ah! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! And yet, among them, a jewel. Convulsing, I cough up more wet nothingness as I feel my very thoughts burn to ash. They were of no use to us anyways. I catch it, and throw it back. No matter how many times it falls through, it's never enough. I don't know how I'm still standing. I know it. That pain of failure. I don't think I'll be for much longer. I feel my senses cut out as wings beat overhead. How insular they must be. Carrion creatures feasting upon dead thoughts, rotten ideals. The void, ignorant to their intrusion, cares neither way, only fearing the dawn that never comes. A dawn that must not come. It is beckoning. That piercing nothingness burning into the back of my skull. Reach out. Wet fur sloughs against my sickly skin as I awake, only to find myself clutched by the monster in front of me. My hand in its only remaining paw, unable to move away. I feel another wrench coming as its cables writhe and organs leak onto damp faux fur. I try to meet his eyes, but it's cast those aside. What do you want? I try to pull away, but its decrepit grip is like stone. Then why? Why doesn't it just die? Please, let me go. Then I hear it. A sound coming from the monster. Sickening and rhythmic, like the dying of an old clock. No, it's not dying. It's just beginning. Heartbeat. Something so profoundly beautiful and alive has never sounded more dead. It spasms with undulant glee as pulses of life rack through it, painful as all creation is. Harder and harder I try to pull away, only for its grip to tighten. Eye to eyeless mound, I hear those words one more time. Those dead rhymes and forgotten secrets. They still fall on deaf ears. But by the eye... What? Did you say something? What is this? What do you want? Rias! What? A single blink, it's gone. Taking only a moment to recover, I snatch my arm back from the air and hold my wrist. It's dry, minus some sickly sweat. What was that? What was the point of all that? And who? Rias! Is that you? Whipping my head around, I fear I scare the old Karain, as the professor stands but a few yards away from me. There's an unbroken moment of silence between us as I try to determine if he's real or not. I'm not sure if I'd even be able to tell anymore. Unabated, he walks forwards, a worried expression plastered on his tired gray muzzle. What in the void are you doing down here? Are you down here with Director Tyrion? Why are you here so early? And by the eye, you're bleeding. Stupidly looking at my hands, I see no blood, but bringing my fingers to my lips reveals a different story. Reaching into my mouth, I find the culprit and... snap! Solve the problem. An incisor. I guess it hit my head harder than I thought. As the haze wears off and the pain comes flooding back, I hunch over and vomit up what's left of me. Damn. I think ghosts are real. Tyr stands off to the side looking terrified as I finish and wipe off my mouth. By the void, you look awful! Come here! Limping over, I stand slumped in front of him. He reaches up and gently puts a paw to my forehead. You don't seem to have a fever, at least not one that I can tell. Here, give me your wrist. He reaches out to take my hand, but after what I just went through, I draw back in terror. I'm sorry, I just wanted to check your pulse. Dr. Senna said that the best place to check was your wrist. Would you prefer I check your neck? Prefer if you didn't check at all. Fuck me. I fucking hate it here. Sighing, I lean in, exposing my neck. At this point, I only hope he doesn't tear it out. His weathered pads are cold, but the sweat I'm drenched in is colder, and rapidly getting worse the longer I stay down here. Well, I can't tell what's wrong with you here. Would you like to come to my office and wait while I contact someone to come and get you? It's not far from here. I nod, and he takes one last worried look at me before gesturing behind him and walking off. Before he gets too far ahead, I take one last look down the tunnel. It's dark, and the lights flicker on and off as though nothing ever happened. There are no sloughed-off mascot parts, no discarded flesh, and no puddles of bile, except the ones I made. Whatever it was, though, it was real. I'm unfortunately sure of that. Fuck, my jaw hurts so much. Pocketing my tooth, I hurry to catch up with the professor. I wouldn't have expected Tyr to walk so fast due to his age, but I'm glad he's not slowing down in these frigid hallways. He hasn't bothered with any other questions. However, until something seems to cross his mind. Rias, not that I'm upset, but how did you get down here anyways? These tunnels are not trivial to navigate, and we're behind at least 3 security gates at this point. Sighing, I reach into my jacket and pull out my not an ID card. Is that a terminal key? I didn't think they just gave those out. I mean, they kinda did. Right. Well, that would explain a few things. I have one myself, but I wasn't actually sure how many there were in circulation. Fascinating. He returns to silence as we walk unabated through the tunnels. I have to stop a few times as I'm feeling very weary, but eventually we come to a frankly monolithic blast door. Tyr walks over to the side and starts putting in his clearance as I slump against the wall. I definitely think I'm going to skip going to work today. After a satisfying beep, the clamps on the door start to slowly release and the massive slab begins to open. Tyr doesn't seem all too much in a hurry. A cool blue projection emits from a small bracelet before he looks back at me. Do you think you can make it a bit further? Leering at him through bloodshot eyes, I shakily nod and follow. Plodding the rest of the way, I can see a visible difference in the state of the hallways here. They seem cleaner, nice even. Maybe they had to replace part of it at some point, but it's about all I can focus on as I just try not to faint where I'm standing. My mouth is killing me. You hear me? Huh? I'm glad you're still alive in there. Can I do anything for you? You seem... I'm just worried. He's being kind, but his kindness is almost grating as he knows I have no way to respond. I sigh and shake my head no. Alright, of course. We can get you some water when we get to my office, and you can rest up for now. It's only 6 mark. You must be exhausted. Do you think your bleeding will subside? We could see if any of my colleagues are here yet. I believe they have a few medical degrees between them. Although the only trained professional that would have any chance of understanding you right now is still asleep. Unless he'd pick up his damned monitor. He frantically starts messaging who I can only assume is Marowyn before turning back to me. Well, since you're here, I should tell you where you seem to have found yourself. These are the sublevels. You may have been able to guess that, but just for clarity's sake, it bears explanation. This is where the main engines are, the backup generators, and... well, I suppose you of all people deserve to know about it, but this is where the Mayorin is contained. Through all the haze, hearing that does raise a brow. I never really thought I'd get to come here, mainly accounting for the fact that my guardians seem to be allergic to this place. Much to my surprise, though, Tyr continues. I'm afraid you're in no condition for a tour anytime soon, but I'm not sure there'd be much to show. The staging room is impressive, but it's still being cleaned and checked for radiation after the last test fire. Well, you know the one. Oh, the single act that plunged my life into a cosmic tragedy and has left me seeing ghosts? How could I forget? Is what I would say if I wasn't choking on my own blood and being guided around by someone who has no hope of understanding me. Rias? You should know that I'm truly sorry for what has happened. Once it was brought to my attention that this may have all been in part due to my work, well, I'm not sure I'll ever be able to make this up to you, but I'm trying. He seems genuinely distraught. Through the malice leaking itself out of my body, I almost feel bad for him, but it's hard to feel anything right now except pain. I'll explain more when we get to my office. We just have to head through the lounge and we should be there. Opening a door into said lounge, I'm almost worried by how small it is. Did Merwin say I could stay here? It's only about as big as my cell was. I don't see another Karain around either, so I'm not even sure how many people work down here. I wonder if that Karain that took my phone from me is here today. I guess it doesn't matter. Tyr steps inside a door off to the side, beckoning me to follow. Alright, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!